If there was kind of some element to the basketball gods there in those final seconds, streak and all that, but you got a better pass. Rui's open in the corner. He ends up hitting the shot. Can you just take us through that sequence and how it results?
Just playing the game the right way. You always make the right play. That's just been my MO. That's how I was taught the game. I've done that my whole career. There's not even 1 second guessing that. Once they doubled AR and the ball got swung to me, I know it's a members game. We got a 4-on-3 advantage, and I was just trying to put the ball on time, on target, and right in Rui's socket, in the shot pocket, and he knocked it down.
So you get the stop on the other end, no timeout, but Rui said in the walk-off that you communicated to him at some point. I don't know if you said, hey, I'm going to get you, or get you the ball, or you get to it. What did you communicate? How did you do it in that amount of time with no timeout, no stop?
We put him in the payoff spot. I looked over at that bench, and obviously we didn't want to call timeout. We had a good flow. AR been cooking all night, and I started seeing our coach kind of, telling Scotty Barnes to possibly double. So I wanted to keep Rui on the same side to be my payoff spot.
Obviously it paid off. Big time with the Rui breathing. I know that's not as much time since the game ended, but now that the streak has ended for you, what feelings did you have, if any, about it?
None. We won.
The general kind of offensive flow for you in the game, when you came to getting your shot and stuff like that, how did it feel out there? A couple of the early misses were pretty uncharacteristically.
I'm still getting in the rhythm. This is my sixth game. Like I said, it's obviously well documented. I've never missed a whole training camp in a whole preseason before, and then let alone miss the first 14 games or whatever. So I'm still, figuring my rhythm, figuring out, everything as far as offensively. I know, like I said, make an impact on the floor when I'm out there, but still trying to fill it out.
You're 2-0 in the last 2 games. You guys, you haven't scored 10 points.
I won't make that a habit though. But listen, man, you guys know how the guys have been around me for 8 years. This is my 8th year. I've been covering my career. I'll just make the right play. That's all that matters. Win, lose, or draw. You make the right play. The game guys always give them back to me, no matter if it was a win or loss or whatever. That's just how I was raised. That's how I always play the game.
JJ was saying that he remembers early in your career when you would get criticized, right, for making that pass instead of taking the shot. And I guess that collectively basketball has advanced some. You probably won't get a lot of critique for making that pass, but have you seen that evolution of it? And can you kind of remember back to those times and just stick it with what you know about this is the way you play basketball?
Yeah, of course. Of course I remember. I remember everything that's been negatively said about me in my game throughout my career. And it was always that aspect was always one of the most foolish things I've ever heard, as far as making the right pass, making the right play. We are in the business of winning basketball games, and my whole life I've just played the game that way. I've taught the game that way, and I've won at every single level I've played at by playing the game that way. So there was no reason for me to ever change. Once I got to this level, it doesn't change. Basketball is basketball.
Right before the game, embrace Brandon. I was just curious if how you feel about him kind of finally, settling into a spot here and playing as well as he's been playing.
B.I.'s unbelievable talent. I had him my first year in LA, obviously, and he was a young stud then. But as much seasoned vet now, super mature now. His game is mature. He's getting better and better, and I love to see him thrive. All the guys that I play with, especially my first year, I love seeing him. Caruso, Zoe, Josh Hart. Zubek, like all the guys. I'll just name a few of them. These guys are. It's great to see them play the game the right way and they've been balling.
You talked about this before. The fans in Toronto, you talked about this before, but it sounded like half the stadium was cheering for you.
They're amazing. I love it. I don't know how many games I have left here in this building, but these fans are unbelievable. This city is unbelievable. Always welcome me with open arms. Either if I was coming here to play a basketball game or just coming here to visit. I've always loved and appreciated the fan support here, man. one of a kind for sure.
Obviously been a supporter of Austin, but even for you, has it surprised you at all that he's been able to carry like this usage and produce this way and be this efficient at this usage, or is it kind of what you expected?
It's not surprising me. I've seen it since day one when we got him. I saw the talent, and when talent meets hard work and preparation, then I don't think there's any stopping, an individual that puts the work in. Once you have the talent, we may be everyone has talent, but in order to be consistent, you got to put the work in, and he's done that. So I'm not surprised. I'm super happy for him. Appreciate it. Yep.